Ford makes some big changes to its smallest pickup truck for 2025. I'm Jay, and this is Modern Motoring. Well, Ford finally did it. They put an all-wheel drive hybrid powertrain into their extremely popular Ford Maverick compact pickup truck. Welcome to the channel, and we are doing a first drive with the refreshed 2025 Ford Maverick. So in the video, you'll see the hybrid powertrain, which is what I have here. They put us in their Street Truck LOBO trim, which is pretty cool. A little bit on that later on. And we were in the Tremor as well, and did a little bit of light-ish off-roading, but still very much worth mentioning and talking about. Let's get some numbers out of the way. So the hybrid powertrain, regardless if it's front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, runs off a 2.5-liter four-cylinder engine, 191 horsepower, 155 pound-feet of torque, and it's through a CVT. Now, the EcoBoost 2-liter engines, they run off a 8-speed automatic transmission, and the LOBO runs off a 7-speed automatic transmission. But let's stick with this because this is the big news. This is what Ford customers had been asking for. For this first drive program, Ford's provided us with the all-wheel drive version of their hybrid because, well, that's their big reveal here. Yeah, the LOBO is pretty awesome, and the Tremor is also pretty awesome. Lots of tech, lots of cool stuff, but this will by far be the volume seller. And I asked my Ford rep, well, how well is the Maverick all-wheel drive hybrid doing for where we are in 2025? And he said approximately half of all Maverick sales, January to April, as this is being filmed in the middle of May, have been hybrid. So right off the top, that is a fantastic figure. And then he went a step further, saying of the 50% of hybrid sales, approximately half of those are with the all-wheel drive system versus the front-wheel drive. So effectively, to date, first 4 months of 2025, 25% of the Maverick sales overall in Canada are all-wheel drive hybrid. Another big change here is the upgrade from an 8-inch screen to a 13.2-inch screen for the infotainment system. It's very Ford. It runs off Sync 4. It's responsive. It does all the things you needed to, most of the things you wanted to. Now, my little gripe is that Apple CarPlay, which can be wireless or wired, doesn't take up the entire screen. There is a fixed portion on the right side that runs through a few different things like your Trip A and your audio or your maps. Sure, that's nice, but it's a little repetitive because if I'm running Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, I'll see my maps, I'll see my audio, and if I really want Trip 1, Trip 2 information and data, I can just look at the instrument cluster. So it's not quite a miss. It still takes up a lot of real estate on the larger 13.2-inch screen, but me specifically, just speaking only for myself, I'm a big fan of the full screen of Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Fuel consumption is a big driver here, and a lot of people have asked about it. So the all-wheel drive version gets a combined 6.3 liters per 100 kilometers, and the front-wheel drive version gets 6.2 liters per 100 kilometers. So it is a marginal difference between the two. So with the front-wheel drive, based off the 52-liter fuel tank, you can go up to 839 kilometers in theory, just dividing 52 by 6.2. And then with the all-wheel drive, it's up to 825 kilometers. Same methodology, dividing 52 by the 6.3, which gives me 825. The interior retains a lot of familiar pieces here. And just to go back to the infotainment system for a moment, before on the smaller 8-inch screen, you had a little section to the right where you could maybe put a couple of smaller things. So with the 13.2-inch screen, that is now gone, but there is a decent-sized storage bin behind the infotainment system, which gives you, again, that not quite replacement storage, but it doesn't take anything away from it. And you still have your little bins up front. Pretty clean layout as far as the dash panels go. You get the gear selector, which just spins and spins and spins. I wouldn't have minded if they put in a locker at some point, so when you hit drive, it just stops, but it's a very me thing. Everything is function first here. You have the same style of door handles, and it looks bigger than it is once you're in the driver's seat. I don't feel closed in. I don't feel cramped. I don't feel that the cabin is narrow. Now, when I first opened the door, I'm like, oh, this can seem a little on the smaller side, but again, once you're inside here, it feels a lot larger than it is. I wouldn't have that feeling of it's too small, despite it being classified as a compact pickup truck. You can tow up to 4,000 pounds when properly equipped here on the Ford Maverick, and some trims will get you 2,000 pounds of towing. Your payload is up to 1,500 pounds as well. And since it came out in 2021, it's always seemed like the right size truck. Another cool stat worth mentioning is that the Maverick has an 85% loyalty rate for their trade-in, and that's extremely impressive. Now, part of the presentation from Ford Canada for the Maverick here with the refresh is that they talked about the 3 pillars, and their 3 pillars here are efficiency, affordability, and capability. So into the capability side, it can tow up to 4,000 pounds, 1,500 pounds worth of payload, and it just does all the things that a small pickup truck should, and it does it fairly well. Efficiency comes through the hybrid powertrains, whether it's front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. And on the affordability side, a few trims are under that 40,000 Canadian MSRP figure, which, you know, when you consider the average price of a vehicle in Canada was a little over $60,000 in 2024, the Maverick really does well on the affordability side. Part of the first Canadian Drive program was putting an autocross together for the LOBO, and while that was the slowest, even though there was no official timer, because I don't really do the autocross stuff or the track stuff, I can appreciate what they've done here. Now again, the LOBO runs off a 7-speed transmission as opposed to an 8-speed with the EcoBoost, and it's a really good chance to open up the LOBO and see what it can do. And good on you, Ford, for bringing back this street truck movement. And I think we'll see a few more than expected LOBOs on the street, because it really does balance functionality as well as a whole lot of fun. So here's hoping that there's a lot more of these cool LOBOs showing up on the streets. And at what speed does this front camera go away?
Yeah, it's VMAX. Cool. Yep, so it stays on. It used to be speed cap. But now we've heard the feedback. People want it at higher speeds, so we've left it on. Do some maintenance here.
1, 2, 3 degrees, 4 degrees, 5.
Yeah, and it can do quite a bit more than that.
10 degrees, 11 degrees, 12 degrees, 13.
Yeah.
Left this somewhere?
A what, sir?
B-roll, like footage?
Yeah, I think they have some, and they did this the other day. I'll chat with Valerie, but I believe they do already have the waterboarding.
This is...
Yeah. Pretty deep.
This is pretty sweet, too. Yeah. This is great. Oh, man. As much as I like Ford, I don't think I'll ever forgive you guys.
That little truck icon there.
Yep.
So this activates Trail 1 pedal to start.
Right.
So Trail 1 pedal is basically brakes when you're not on the gas. Button for the speed control, or the cruise control. This is off-road cruise control now. So if you keep going up, we'll set it to like 6 for this climb. So all you need to do here is feet off the pedal. If you feel rollback, obviously you can add brake, but it's gonna do the driving for you minus the steering, obviously.
This is oh, Sammy, watch out, buddy. That camera is so handy.
Yeah, it is.
Through the water.
And then brake at the orange?
Yeah, brake at the orange.
Let's wrap up with pricing and Canadian MSRP figures. Yes, I've got a sheet of paper here because there are a lot of numbers. I want to make sure I get them right. On the XL trim for the front-wheel drive hybrid, $34,500. Bump up to $37,000 to get the all-wheel drive hybrid. Difference is $2,500. Same thing with the XLT, $37,000 for the front-wheel drive hybrid, $39,500 for the all-wheel drive hybrid. The Lariat rings in at $46,500 for the hybrid all-wheel drive. That's your top trim that will get you all sorts of extra features and benefits. And on the price difference side, it's $2,000 less for the Lariat hybrid, so that would make it down to $44,500 for the gas, and again $46,500 for the hybrid all-wheel drive top trim Lariat. See, I knew I needed that sheet of paper. Let me get that put off to the side. The key competitor here size-wise is the Hyundai Santa Cruz. Similar but different. Right, Hyundai is going for more of the upscale premium cabin feel. No shot against Ford here in the Lariat, but Hyundai's gone a little more upscale here, where Ford is really drilling down on the functionality side. Now, it's a very comfortable interior here with the Lariat trim that I'm in. The seats are great. They heat up real quick. Same thing with the heated steering wheel. I don't feel cramped. Lots of cool little storage bins and cubbies. Decent sized rear seat, decent sized bed as well. Again, the capability plays in quite nicely. So I'm not knocking Ford at all for anything to do with the Maverick. I can see how some people may see the interior of the Hyundai Tucson to be a little more premium as opposed to function-based here in the Ford Maverick. That's going to wrap it up for the first Canadian drive for the 2025 refreshed Ford Maverick. Let me know if you have any questions on what you've seen. I will get you answers as soon as possible. And I'm always happy to engage in respectful conversation online. I will book this for a full week. This has only been about a 24-hour experience here between the hybrid, the LOBO, as well as the Tremor. So there will definitely be more content on the Maverick coming up later this summer. For now, I thank you, I appreciate you, I invite you to join the Modern Motoring social media platforms. We're on all of the major ones. Without you, there is no Modern Motoring, so I thank you, I appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.